well. And today we will continue with our string class, and I would say we start with implementing the find function. This is generally a very useful functionality to have. So, and the last person left, perfect. So as I was saying, we will now continue with our string class and implement the find function. So who would like to volunteer to implement it? Okay. I think yes, it shouldn't have changed. So to quickly summarize, the idea is that we have a certain string inside our current object, and then we provide a much shorter or generally just shorter string, and we want to find the offset where this string starts. And we can alternatively provide the... No, we are looking for the argument. We're looking inside this for the argument, and we want to also be able to specify a starting position, so that if we would have, let's say, a string which always contains, for example, double point space and then some value, then another double space value. Yeah. Hmm? That is, for me it works. Try again. Or try reconnecting if it doesn't work. Sure. Because it's a template class. It is a template class. Yes, but the thing is that when the compiler generates the body of the function for the particular type that we decided to use at some point, the compiler must see not only the header but also the implementation. Otherwise, it cannot implement the function body. So if we would have moved our find function to the CPP file, then we would get a linker error because the compiler would not create the specialization for the type that we have been using. You could, if you want to use only a predefined set of types, you could use typedef and force the compiler to create the implementation in the CPP file for a selected set of types, but then you could never use any new type without adding it manually in the CPP file. And the whole idea about using templates is that they can work with pretty much any type you feed it. In case of a string, there are only two reasonable cases, but in case of any other template container class, you really want the flexibility to work with any type. Mm-hmm. Yes. So that we can specify a starting position, and this is especially useful if you, for example, are parsing a string. So you could, for example, search in a larger string for new line characters, and then process the string line by line, and always be able to jump to the next new line character by searching for it, and providing the index after the last one, so that you only search the new portion of the string that hasn't been yet processed. Um, if you want to do it, if you want to do it fully manually, then you would have two loops. You would have an outer loop which starts at the UPOS index and goes until the length of the whole uh, this data. Although you could restrict it such that it goes to length minus the length of what you're searching for minus 1, because you know if you are at the very end and there is no more room for what you're looking for, then you will not find it. And then inside it you have a second loop, and then you always start at the current outer loop index plus inner loop index and compare the char at this position in the main string with the char at the inner loop index position of the string you are looking for. And another approach would be to, instead of the inner loop, to use a function like memory compare to search for it. But I think a manual approach is actually better, because this gives us the flexibility to later add a more complex behavior, like for example a case insensitive comparison, so that we can say that whether a letter is normal or capital will still match, which is a very common improvement that is used when searching for strings for the purpose of passing them. Usually most formats are not case sensitive with regard at least to the keywords used. Should be u length. Yeah, it's u length. M arrow u length. Now it's working. This IntelliSense sometimes gets stuck and doesn't do anything. I don't know why. It's just Microsoft is no longer making flawless software. They are now making bug-ridden things which needs hundreds of patches before they work. It's terrible. But I guess that's what you get if you fire your whole quality assurance department. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I. Also, we should start I equals u position, since we want to specify from where we are searching on. You said, is there a problem with the sound? That is not good. Is it now better? Can you hear me now without cutting out? Okay, perfect. In line 101, we should start at E is equals U position, so that we can specify from where we are actually searching. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, sounds good. This is strange. But apparently reconnecting helped. I never had that this. It seems there is some sort of network connection issue, and the new versions of VNC, they are using UDP. And if you follow the lecture, then you know that UDP doesn't guarantee that packets arrive. So it really seems like there is some issue with the network. Although there is a setting in the view, I think, that you can force it to use TCP. But then the only effect will be that probably the whole image will freeze for however long the network connectivity is broken. So it's not necessarily an improvement. We basically need a second loop inside. Then reconnect. Well, in line 103, you need to go with I plus j. Yes, and there is. Yeah, let's continue like this, and then we will. No, let's fix it right now. In line 101, you are comparing I to U length, and this is fine. But if you would be at the very end, then I would be like the last allowed value, but j might be iterating until some number, so you would get an index which lies outside of the p data range. So ideally you should in line 100. Well, the simplest thing would be to just in line 101 subtract what m length from u length. There is, however, one caveat here. That both variables are unsigned. You later convert it to an assigned int, but this means that you will just get a very large number if u length, if mu length would be bigger than u length. So you should add an if at the very beginning, before the loop, which checks whether what we are looking for isn't actually longer than the whole string you are looking in. Because if that's the case, then you can never find it and you can bail out instantly. We return the position where we found the match, so we would return I on success. But if it's not there, we return -1. Well, we need to search until the end of the loop, and when everything matches, then we can return I. Mm-hmm. Yes. That would be one approach. So you need somehow to communicate the state of all the comparisons to outside the loop. And one option is that you set a variable before the loop, which is called, which would be called, let's say, not found, and by default it would be inside the second loop. So here you wouldn't define it before the second loop. Call it, let's say, not found, and the comparison you would check whether they are not matching, and if they are not matching, then you would just break and set not found to true, and then you need to start with false. This you change to compare whether they are not the same. And if they are not the same, you are just setting not found to true, and you can break out of the loop, of the inner loop. That is one approach. If it's not if it's not found, then you just continue to the next iteration with the next position of I, and if it is found, then you return I. So if not found remains false, then you can return I after the second loop. After the second loop, if not found remained false, you can return the current position. Mm-hmm. That should work. Let's try it out. No. If it's matches, then we just go to the next comparison and so on. Yes. Definitely. One bracket is missing. No, it's certainly missing. Yeah. Now it moved. This you do in the template argument when defining the character. Although if you just use a selected type, then modern C will automatically find out the right string type. So if you just create a string with a C string as an argument, or you can do it by hand, yeah, like this. I don't remember from which version of C this works automatically. I know that in C98 it does not, but I think C11 already has the capability of finding out in such scenarios the right template type, which is quite convenient. Okay. Can remove the breakpoint and make it run. It will turn 15. Sounds plausible. It probably is. Let's see, and then doesn't this tell us? The older versions of Visual Studio, they showed you quite a few information in the status bar, but I see it. Now we have the status bar, so but it doesn't show you. It shows here now. Let's see. Well, it does not tell us how many characters we selected. That is mildly annoying, but okay. So yeah, we can just oh, that's one too much. Wait, because it should give us the index of W. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No, it's fine, 15. Okay, a small optimization. So this is a classical way of doing it. One can implement this in a slightly more elegant way. I will just make here a copy and do it the way I would have done it. So what I would have done is I would put I outside of the loop. The rest remains. This just breaks. And now I would here just compare that if I is equals length, then return if j is equals length, then return I, because we always must finish this loop if we have a match. So if we finish this loop, so we never break, then j will end up being equals to what length. So if we define the I before, then and here compare, then we can save one variable. It's a minor optimization, but that's the way I would have done it. Okay, so that was very good. So let's find another volunteer for the next function, which will be this substring function. We have two substrings, then this substring function. The idea of substring is that it allows us to extract something from the existing string. So if we take this example here, let's save this variable. Size t pause is equals So what we would want is then, for example, to print text substring starting at position. Let's say the length we will leave at -1, so that won't everything. And this would then be supposed to print this string. So if again we are parsing some sort of text file, then we can use first find to find something. We could also then use find again to find some other marker, and then use substring to take whatever is between these two markers and either process it further, or that might already be the final data we were looking for. So the next task for the next volunteer will be to implement this substring function. Who would like to do it? Okay. Then please connect and do it. If you have any questions, then of course I'll help you. It returns a new instance of CX string, and it copies the selected range from one string to another. To do it properly, it is important to check the position and the length arguments to ensure that we will not try to access some memory which would be outside of the array. And in case of the length parameter, whether it's specified as -1 or whether it's just too big, it should be truncated to whatever is available in the string to return. So even if we specify a certain length, a substring might always return a shorter string if there is no more data in the string. Okay. Okay, but this is not good. Then it means it's on my end. With one user, that might always be on the user side, but if you're also getting connection errors, then yeah, but after the lecture I'll reboot my router. Maybe there is some memory leak running amok or something. We don't have a means to return an error message, so we only as return an empty string on failure. Although position is a size t, which is unsigned, so it can never be negative. About the position and length with regard to the length of the current data. It's about the position and uLength with regard to the mu-length stored in the current data object. Well, again, they are unsigned, so if if u length would be larger than mu length, you would get a very large positive number instead of a negative one. So you just need to reshuffle the operations. So you just move u length to the other side and remove the minus. Just mathematically move it on the other end of the equation, and then it's safe. Right. Although I would rather check for the failed case. Well, there is another thing to keep in mind. U length can be -1. So if it is -1, then you should make it calculate the right length that it can be, and then change the variable. So let's start it like this. First thing to do should be to check for whether position is valid. So position must be smaller u length, and if it is not, then return just an empty string. Because that's the first thing. If we want from an offset that's outside of the array, then there is nothing to be done at this point. And you need to compare with the mu length in this case. If it's greater or if it's equal, because equal is already once too far. Then it should just return an empty cx string. I guess waiting half a minute will fix it. Maybe. Is it working again? That is strange. Because voice seem to work right now, fine right now, right? Voice seem to work right now, fine. That is odd. Like in line 81. And you should also check if it is greater or equals, because equals, as I mentioned before, is also not longer a valid position. And now what you can do is you can calculate the length that remains in the string. So this would basically just be yes, and if this is less than u length, then you should assign the remaining length to u length. And this takes care for two cases: one when we enter with the -1 argument, and when we enter with just a too large u length. In both cases it will then fix our u length such that we know that we are where we should be. Okay. It seems to be something with my ISP, because I have two different connection configurations running in parallel, and when I ping a target from one router, it stops responding also on the also on the second router. So both both don't work, and since one is a real machine, the other one is a virtual machine, it means that very likely it's something on the ISP side that it's happening upstream of my own infrastructure, as it affects both units. And unfortunately, I don't have two ISP lines. That would be nice, but it's it would be probably not worth it for the few times where it fails. Yeah. It cannot. First of all, you should make remaining length also of size underscore t, and then you can just check whether uLength is greater than remaining length, and if it is, then just assign uLength is equals remaining length. We just assign uLength is equals remaining length. Now we know that the arguments are safe, and we can start using them. So I do not think we implemented append. It would be nice to have, certainly. What you will want to do is just, you could use this constructor and paste pdata at the offset of position, and uLength you already have. You don't need a loop for that. You can do it in one line in principle. Because here we are using memcopy to copy the bulk of data within the range specified. With position X string, small typo. MP data from the current object at the offset of position. uLength, not remaining length. And you can remove line 85. And you need the return, of course. So you need to put return before your constructor call. Okay, and now let's test it. Yeah, we already have the test case. We just need to run it. Um, it's a typo, yes. Uh, just specify it. Why? Let me try. For some reason don't like how we do it, but we have this specified as being of the right type, so it... Oh, sure. It should not be at position, but plus position. We want the result to be a pointer. Alternatively, we could also do it like this. This gives us the same result. So either we take address of at, or we just use plus instead, which then also gives us an address. But I think this is more pretty. Let's run it. Yeah. Yeah, seems to work. Nice. Good. So now maybe it would be a good exercise to implement a test case, which is a bit more elaborate, to use this substring and find. Just a short exercise, so I will prepare a longer input data. Let's say okay, and the goal now will be to use substring and find to only print the values as a comma separated list to the console. So if you want to do it, it's fine. Otherwise, maybe Mr. Oliver would like to do that. Mr. Oliver, are you there? Can anyone hear me? Okay. Okay. But it seems Mr. Oliver is not responding, so would you like to continue with the example that you started? You are here? Then I said use this find and substring to print value 1 until 5 from this string. So you need to find like the position of double point, you need to find the position of backslash n, and use this smartly to print all the values to the console one by one. VNC viewer. It should be the same, I think. Then probably it's wrong. Yes. Where's the chat? There is the chat. So this. Okay. Connection data in the chat. That is possible, yes. Not like in C#, no. In principle, you can just print the results to the console in as you find them. You don't need to construct one string containing value 1, comma, value 2, comma, value 3, but you can just print value 1, comma, print value 2, comma, as you encounter them, and then at the end of the loop just print a new line. And add some, yeah? That is correct, and this is why you have the position argument, because you can tell it from where it searches the first occurrence. So you then just remember where you find the last one, add its length to it, and then from that offset search for the next one. Well, we only search for strings, so you need to search for a string of the length 1. We could, of course, create a second find function that only looks for single chars, as it would be optimized, of course, but it is not something that would be that much of an improvement. So usually, even when doing string parsing, then what you do later with the data you found and stuff like that is the more computation intensive operation than just whether you have a loop that that is unfortunate. I will debug the issue after the lecture. It seems to be ISP related, but I can restart the home server. I can restart the ISP modem. One of the things should fix it, I hope. Yes, I can hear you. It might be a good idea to close it and reopen it to force another reconnection attempt. That should work. That works normally. Yes. You should check post not size. Do we? Yes, we have. You don't. No. That's unfortunately not available yet. You don't. We also don't have a square bracket operator yet. So if you want to print it, you need just to print. Just remove the square bracket 0. You can just use the substring and then C string. But what you will need to add is some length, how long you want it to print, because that will be needed. No, I print the whole string, and end line just prints a new line character on the console. Okay, if you want to print the whole thing, then this will do it. Yes. Yes. It's the second argument of substring. Mm-hmm. No, you need to search for the next character, and you can use the position that you already have to tell it from where it should start the searching. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I did not expect that this would happen, and to fix it, it will take, I guess, 15 minutes to half an hour, depending on how broken it is. So I think it's better we just go through it, and we see how to fix it later. Well, in the second position, I guess. Substring gives you everything after the position you pass to it. Well, after and including. So if you give it a position of double point, it will give you a double point as well. You are missing. Right. You have size T. Last. In. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Sorry about the connection. That was an unexpected error, and unfortunately. Yes. Well, actually, it should even create at least a warning during compilation, depending on the setting, even an error. Because using uninitialized memory is a very prominent source of errors, so the compilers nowadays are quite vigilant to find such scenarios. Should not be that long. Yeah, but it really feels like at least a minute. That's not perfect. Yeah? Then you just take the difference to get the length. Well, you start with 0 and then you get the first double point. That's fine. Um, you could check if last init position is 0, then you know that that's the first. But what do you want to print? You don't need to print Q1. What you need to print is, you just need to print like, let's say you print before the loop values, double point, and then you just print the values, and you only need to check it at the beginning of the loop. If last int pos is not 0, then you print comma before you print the value. Is it working again? Yeah. Because you need to see dot cstr. The stream operator does not have a type for our CX string, but has an implementation for a normal C string. Is it working again? Are you trying to print a key and value both each time? Okay, then run it. Yeah. And it somehow wraps around and begins at the beginning again. That is odd. That will need some debugging. I know why, because no, I don't know why. Just put a breakpoint somewhere and step through it step by step until you find the place where it misbehaves. You can see the values in the lower panel, so okay. Let's see. So we start, we get the two positions, then we print it. Okay. It didn't print properly, so the loop is never terminating, but in each loop iteration it prints everything, it seems. Let's make it a bit smaller so we see the actual output. So 0 to 4 sounds reasonable. 4 till 12 minus 4, that sounds also reasonable. That printed value 1. The second, let's see, 12. 4 minus... Okay, 4 minus 12 is a negative number, so this is not okay. And here, 4, 12 minus 4, this one is correct. So what was the idea for the second line? This one? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure this... I mean, the whole thing is not quite doing what it should, because as said... Let's put a breakpoint here for now. When we execute this line, it prints the whole line, so this is not... Or is it? It's what you want, okay. Okay. Okay, so then let's say this is doing, but then here you would need like an else case. This should not be done in the same loop, right? Because it's either first or it's not first. Because here you have a hard-coded value. Okay, so let's go an else here. But I don't think this will solve it. Let's see. Let's run it. Yeah, and definitely in line 66 there's still a bug, because is it endpos? Should this be endpos? It should not be endpos, I think. Also, what is also missing is that you need to update the first int pos at some point. Otherwise, it will... well, but it's updated with the position of double point. So if you repeat the loop, you will find the same index. So after you printed the result, you need to increment a last int pos by 1, for example. And then it will always be stuck at this one. Yes? Yes. The same one. No, you find the same one. Well, you could do that, but then if it would be the very first character and you start with 0, you would omit it. So if we wouldn't have key, the whole string would start with double point, it would fail. It's better to increment it after the loop finished. So add a line 67 and then increase the variable by 1. Or you could actually assign last int pos with the value of last end pos. Then you don't search through a part of the string which you don't need to search through. You just need to do it after you're done with yeah. Yeah. You can just remove the breakpoint and run it. Let's see what happens. Well, we found the end, but apparently the indices. I think let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the positions in line 66 are not correct. You should rethink the indices. If you want to print the now you need to save a few values before. That's the problem, because once you searched for it, you have the offset of double point and the offset of \n. But if you want to print the key belonging to it, then you would need to have saved the old value of end pos. You would need to like a previous end pos to do that. Yes. Yes. And how do you? Yes. 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 Yes, but you want to print the key string as well, right? Is it that what you did? Right. So if you have the index, let me have the mouse. If you have, let's say we are in key 2, if you have the index of double point and the index of n, how do you know where key starts? You need a value that would point to key 2 so that you can print it. So you would need the old value that pointed to the \n. Yeah, but in the next iteration, no, you need to save it, because in the next iteration, after you searched for the two values, you have discarded the value which would be the start index for key. It was much better before the last change. It also contains a negative value, so it prints the whole rest of the string. Well, first I would undo the last change you made before, because the way it worked, it at least you can use Control Z, because the way it worked, you at least iterated until the end of the loop. Okay, then I can do that manually. I think this was the state where it at least ran until, yeah. Nope. So I think if you save endpos before you find the new endpos, then you can make it work, and I think that then you could even make it such that you don't need the first special case, because then your old endpos is just 0, and then you know that this is the first case. So you can save that variable. Yeah. Well, technically you need to check whether it's it would contain the backslash n, it would print the backslash n, except if you're in the first case. So the way I would do it is I would when the loop ends, increment last end pos by 1. So after the loop, inside the loop, yeah, previous. Yeah, and after the loop here, just make last end pos plus 1 is equals last end pos plus, or plus equals 1 plus. This way we have guaranteed that we will not be stuck at the backslash n, and we will at the same time have always the right. Oh no, it's not working again. Okay, let me debug that. Because in principle we have last end. Check it, but that isn't interesting. Okay, let's put the back one. So we start with 12, 17, 30. Then we fall back to 4. That is not a valid. Sorry again. So we start at 12, which is okay. We start then 25, 38, 51, and then we get -1. Why did we get here a value? I mean, we can just check if it seems the find is not quite, in some scenarios, not doing what it should, although we have a check here, length. This okay, so the problem appears. Let's just print let's just print where we start with, and then let's until line. So I think we are running out of time, so it needs to be quick. Okay, so whenever we reach 52, we do something wrong. So we start 39, so the next one will be the wrong one. 52. Let's see how long this thing is. That's 56. and this should be correct. Endpos, okay, and that's the problem. We got endpos 56. We get -1 as endpos while we are in the last. So first, so value 1, 2, 3, 4. No, sorry, value 1, 2, 3, 4, value 5. And we are here now in the 5 scenario, and we already get here -1, while we should not have, because 56 should not be, because we have 65, so we should have still these characters, but for some reason our search function and 56, when fed with 56, did not find the \n. It might be some sort of bug that it's not capable of finding the last character if it is the last character. That's annoying. Oops, that's too much. Okay. I have the 52. Seems there is something wrong with this. So we have length is 1, length is 56, this is fine. Now we start at position. We compare. E is 56, J is 0. Okay, this says it is not the right thing, so let's see what's at the position 56. Okay, it's double point, but that's fine, double point is fine. So then we should go to the next. Just put breakpoints everywhere. Okay, now this is also fine, 0 and 1. This will not match. Let's put a breakpoint here so that it's faster. Okay, value 5. So this is the last which should not match, and the next one +1 should match, should give us \n. So let's see. Here we don't match. We go one up. That needs to be equal. So this should fix one issue. Yeah, now we are terminating correctly. Okay, so now let's just print. So we take previous end and we print until init pos minus previous end. That prints us always the key. Can make this double in 2 lines so that it's more straightforward. And then the next one is init position and okay, let's run it. Voila, and perfectly in time. We are not over time. So that's that for today, but we will be over time when I use some time to assign some homework. So let's see what would be nice to have. Yeah, homework from the, what's the day, 07 11.24. So we want the rfind function, which is here, to be implemented. It is like find, but it works backwards. So we need to think again on how to work with the right offsets. And then we should probably, since we implemented substring, we can also implement left and right, as this is just a specialization of substring. So this is 1, and this will be 2. Left. Okay, and that's it. Are there any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, then yeah. Okay. Yes. It has the same function as the find new pos. It's the offset within the string. Good. Any more questions? Okay. Then I will upload this to Moodle, the recording and the homework and the new updated source string class. And we'll see each other in a few hours for the lecture. See you. Bye bye.